Elias, you've been, sort of grew up in India, came to Israel. What do we need to do to change or alter our behavior in order to be successful in India? Can you have the mic? Just a few sentences.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Andy. I think the common thread which we have heard about the stories from all the esteemed panelists before is that there is a lot of potential for business between both these countries. But what is key element which we miss is that how do we bring about a marriage between these two countries in terms of bringing Israeli innovation to India and giving the access to the Indian market to the Israeli innovation. I think what is important is there are 4 elements, prime elements, which Israeli businesses need to be aware of in terms of doing business in India. Primarily, first being, have a bit more patience than we normally have while dealing with the Indians. Second, Indian businesses are very relationship driven. So spend time, effort to build up those personal relationships. Third, Indians are very value sensitive. So what probably would be a solution which could bring you $1 billion from the US market, don't expect the same from Indian market, because Indian markets is most to do with scale and not being value sensitive is not something where they'll end up paying you double the price like a US consumer would. And honestly, the last advice which I can give to Israeli businesses is don't be direct in your negotiations. Israelis are normally used to negotiating very hard, and I think it's very critical to really bring about the marriage between these two countries in terms of businesses and partnerships and collaboration is keep your patience, build relationships, be value sensitive, and don't be too direct.
Abhishek, there's a couple of executives. Good. There's a few executives here and people that are wondering whether they should come to India or not. You're in the elevator with you and you now have 30 seconds to change their priorities.
So, I believe one is that, probably India needs a lot of Israeli high tech. We have a low cost talent pool. Yeah. And I just met someone right now who has freelanced engineers from India working for them. So if we can somehow, probably train our engineers and can, probably use them for, probably making global products, that is the way forward. And, probably as both the Prime Minister said that we have 20% of the humanity, let's serve the 80% in the world. So if we can join hands together, nothing like it, with the specialized complex products that we can do at a very low cost competitive edge.
So Israelis are going to come and manufacture and use your IT resources, your people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me, if we sort of look here, and I'm very concerned, by the way, by Elias's comment, because Israel is a very straight to the point. Is it going to work, or do I have to hire Indians, or can I?
For Indians, everything is like this. It is neither yes nor no. We don't say things straight. If I have to tell you something, I'll tell you in a format which we call jalebi in India. So, coming back to the point, see, we have a lot of commonality. We have difficult neighborhood, both of us.
Yeah.
We have got huge talent. We are democratic. And we also have a very vibrant society, a society which wants to go out and achieve something new. We are both very enterprising nation. What can work? I can share one example with you because I run a news channel. We do this contest every year for the startups. And we got startups which are like somebody has created, a young boy has created the Uber of trucks.
Yeah.
So when truck carries stuff from one place to another place, before he reaches there, he has already got the stuff picked up from there to go somewhere else, which is not possible in trucking industry. Then he has created a driver Uber for trucking. So you go from one place to another place, the driver is driving for good about 30 days. So you don't get a good driver. You often get illiterate people who are driving trucks and just causing accidents. What he has done is that you start driving from here, half day you drive, there is another driver picking up your truck from there, you are picking up someone else's truck, driving back your home, in the evening you are at home. These are the technologies people have created in India. If Shark Tank has to happen between India and Israel, I'm telling you, those guys will run out of the money within a week.
But there's a big concern, by the way, that if we make investments in India, how do we see them? I mean, is it going to be exits or do they go public?
If you make an investment in India,
Yeah.
please, you are more than welcome.
Exactly, but are we going to make money? That's how are we going to realize that?
See, okay, I'll tell you something. I was just sharing something with your colleagues out here. I run a broadcast company.
Yeah.
70% of my technology is Israelis. Okay? Most of the broadcast company in India run on Israeli or Czech technologies. You manufacture anything in India, it sells. I'll give you another example. You know, there is one guy who has manufactured a lot of FMCG products. He's looking for cow urine.
For?
Now that he uses to manufacture disinfectant,
Yeah.
and cancer drugs. And traditional Indian literature tells you that the cow urine is the best medicine for that. So he is unable to get the supply. Think about India. There is a market for everything. And you are talking about sales, it will happen.
I don't know. I think sort of Israelis want to sell for a high price. They want to do a quick deal. I think it's a bit of a concern. I'm not sure. Tell me, look, you've spent a few days in Israel. You've seen, I think we're great at innovation, maybe reasonable at management, don't excel. I think we have constraints. How can we sort of cooperate? If you were to give me one area where we really should cooperate, what would that be?
So, I believe we've been talking about innovation a lot, but beyond that, if we look at agri and we look at water, I believe we had trade between India and Israel in '92, which was about $200 million, to which has come to about $5 billion. And, probably with this relationship cementing with both the prime ministers, I'm sure there's a lot to look in front. Probably we can go multi-X, but, probably what India needs, and if you're asking in terms of where we should be investing, would be on the water and the agriculture front, which, probably defense is also what you guys are doing. We have cases where a place like Jharkhand, probably Israeli technology companies are working, and the mortality of seeds have gone from 50% to 10%, and these people are making about 30,000 rupees for every 3 months, which is cyclical. So, probably there's a lot of space, probably working and helping in the technology side on the agri and the water space.
I think you're right, by the way. I fully agree. On the technology front, Elias, are
Yeah.
we to go to India looking for investments? Are they to come here looking for money? Exporting or importing? I mean,
I think it's a mix of both the things, because if you really follow the Indian market, just to give you an example of space technology in India, after India detonated the nuclear bomb in the late 90s, all kinds of technology access was cut off to India. And guess what India has managed to do in 10 years? Send a Mars mission at 1/10 the cost than what NASA did. 1/10 the cost. So clearly, I mean, it was a proud moment for Indians, and definitely there's some lessons for us to learn from that, because there comes a point, because maybe the initial few points which I made didn't sound too positive, but I'll try to correct myself there. There are a lot of commonalities between the way the Indian ecosystem works as well as how the Israeli ecosystem works. And that one core point, which I already shared with the Indian colleagues before, is this concept called jugaad. Jugaad basically means improvising in the face of challenges, seeing an opportunity of how you overcome an impediment in your way, how you overcome a challenge and try to find a way out or around it. That's a very Indian way of doing business. And I think this is something which comes very naturally to Israelis as well. The entire nation was formed with challenges around it, hardly any opportunities, but we as a nation saw opportunities. So in terms of trade and business between these two countries, clearly Israel can adapt from India how to bring in value sensitivity in its offerings. That is something which can be learned, at how to bring in, be cost sensitive. That can be something which Israeli entrepreneurs can learn from India, while the Indian entrepreneurs, on the other hand, can really learn this very important trait which Israeli ecosystem teaches, is don't be afraid of failure. And I think this is the key ingredient in the success behind the Israeli entrepreneurs is even if you go wrong, you will go right the next time. And I think that is what is hindering the Indian startup system. And as soon as we see some correction there, we'll probably be making a lot more investment and seeing a lot more exits.
That's a great summary. Avinash, what sort of would you be, what will your final lines be in summarizing, sort of, to get this collaboration going?
See,
Further, I mean, beyond defense.
see, it's a huge opportunity for both the country. It's not about Israel investing in India, India investing in Israel. There is a lot of things that we could do. We have been so far focusing, as rightly someone said before, that so far the focus is only on defense and agriculture. Whenever your spokesperson from the embassy comes to my office, he is only talking about how tomatoes are being grown in Maharashtra and how their defense technology is going. I said, look at it, you are sitting in this company where half the technology is coming from Israel. Nobody's talking about that. So there are opportunities at every place. Digital technology that we have discovered today, and what kind of system that you have created, ecosystem that you have created for startups, we need to learn a lot. We have land, we have got mineral wealth, we have got natural resources. So we can complement each other a lot. We have a shared history. I think Jewish community came to India in 2nd century AD or something. So since that time, we have been exchanging with each other. It's a huge opportunity for both the country in every field, not in just the field of defense and agriculture.
And Abhishek, sort of, when you summarize here, what of all the technologies, the companies you've seen, if you were to pick one area, what would that be?
Data, probably for sure, probably the way India is going, consuming data.
That you've seen in Israel.
Yeah.
In this trip, yeah. What if you were to pick one area, one sector, which you say, I've got to now, this is the area I'm going to bet on. What area would that be?
So again, probably what I saw and what the trends that people have been talking about, probably that there has been so much big data, but probably no one is able to make sense of it. And probably the way we are consuming data, I think so that's the way we should also be looking forward for probably analyzing the data and making more use of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.